Hello, you guys, and welcome back to Mystical Visions. So, we are officially in July. We're in the second half of the year. And so, today I wanted to take a look at what might be coming your way for the rest of 2025. So, we're going to take a look at the most important theme for your life from this point forward for the rest of this year, how you can manifest it quicker if that's something you're interested in, or how you can avoid it, or maybe make sure that you learn the most out of this situation. So I don't know what the cards have to say yet, but I have gone ahead and pre-shuffled them without looking. So for pile number one, we have a carnelian. For pile two, an amethyst. And for pile number three, we have jade. So as always, I'll give you guys some time with these three stacks of cards. There's lots of cards. So see which one calls to you intuitively. Timestamps for all the readings, as always, are in the video description. If you enjoy this video and it feels like it resonates with you and it helps you, please remember to like, comment, subscribe. You can tip me at my PayPal tip jar. Link is in the video description. And you can always stick around to the outro or check out my channel for loads more of these free readings. So without much further ado, I'll see you at your pile. Pile number one, hello. So if you guys picked this carnelian crystal, then welcome. This is your reading. So today we're taking a look at the rest of 2025 for you. And I've gone ahead and pre-shuffled these cards. I haven't looked at them though, so I don't know what they're going to say for you. But we'll start with an energy check of sorts, where we'll take a look at what energy you're bringing into the second half of the year. And if that resonates, then this is obviously the reading for you. If it's not, maybe try a different pile. Then with these four cards here, we'll take a look at what the main theme of the rest of the year is going to be, what the most important aspect of your life is going to be. With these cards, if this theme is something you want, if it's something that resonates with you and you'd like to manifest it, we'll take a look at how you can manifest it quicker. And if it's not something you're necessarily looking forward to, we'll take a look at how you can embrace the lesson without it getting too crazy. And if it is something you want, with these three cards, we'll take a look at how you can make sure you don't miss this. And also, if it's not something you want, we'll take a look at how you can avoid it entirely. So this is how to make it happen, how to not make it happen, or how to embrace the lesson from it, or how to avoid it completely. We'll take a look depending on the cards. And then finally, we'll take a look at your archetype, your personality, your energy when you leave this year at the end of the year. Let me just put my aircon off and on again. I need to reset this thing sometimes. All right, so let's dive in. What energy are you bringing into the year, part one? We are starting with the 7 of coins in reverse. Oh, that was a big honk. Clarified by the 5 of cups, also in reverse. And let me just check where in the frame we are. That's good. And the archetype card you have is the vow. Now, I'm not necessarily reading this in reverse because these cards like to spin around when I move them around, but we will read this from the book. So this is number 54, if that means anything to you. But we will keep in mind that it was in reverse when I picked it up. The vow. When the vow is spoken, the air shifts, karmic ties are formed, and destiny tilts on its axis. Our words and intentions have immense power. The tricky part is that reciting the vow, no matter how casually, activates the eternal and unseen forces of the world. This card calls us to acknowledge the vow that we are living by, consciously or unconsciously, and either recommit to it or create a ritual that signifies its closure. When light, bearing witness to the shift towards destiny. When dark, unconscious vows, unkept promises, messy karma. Okay, yeah. I do think this was intentionally reverse. I'll just keep it there. And let me tell you why. It's because with these two cards, the Seven of Coins and the Five of Cups both in reverse, the Seven of Coins upright usually talks about an investment, something that you want to work towards in the long term. And to have that in reverse, it kind of gives me the vibe of something that you feel you invested a lot into that didn't really pan out. This could be a relationship, a business. With the Five of Cups, it feels more like a relationship though. And it feels like a vow that was broken, a promise that was made that wasn't kept. And as a result, it's almost like you're at the point now where your life is changing because the way you expected it to play out isn't how it's actually playing out. With the Five of Cups in reverse, though, what's interesting is the Five of Cups upright talks about focusing only on the things you've lost, whereas you still have some things that you've managed to hold on to with these two cups here, right, that are still standing. So to have that in reverse usually means acknowledging what you still have left. So either you might be in the energy of, I know that I may have lost so much, but look at what I've gained, right? Or you might be encouraged to remember all the things that you still have left, even though the majority of the situation kind of fell apart a little bit for you, or a lot. With that vow in reverse, it really does feel like this was some sort of commitment that someone backed off on, or someone didn't honor. Yeah, that's the word. It feels like dishonor, but not in the sense of bringing shame, but rather in the sense of someone didn't hold up their end of the promise. So if that's something that resonates for you, par one, then you are very much in the right place. So let's take a look at, now that you understand the situation, what's coming next? What are the big themes coming your way in the rest of the year? We have the Hermit in reverse, and that's clarified by the Emperor. Oh yeah. Okay. So the Hermit in reverse, clarified by the Emperor. What's interesting is both these cards talk about being by yourself, but in different modalities. So the Hermit is someone who consciously distances themselves from people, from reality, from the crowd, in order to go inwards and to do some soul searching, really, and to detach from the situation so they can find better clarity. The Emperor is someone who is alone by default because they are in a position of leadership, right? That's that Aries energy of being a trailblazer. And so what's coming your way is a shift from seeing yourself as alone to seeing yourself as independent. This very much does give me the vibe of perhaps a long-term relationship, perhaps a marriage that hasn't worked out for you, or like a friendship, a partnership. It feels more emotional than just transactional, but we do have a pentacle card here, so I'm not going to rule out any possibilities. But yeah, it does feel like you're stepping away from the energy of feeling left out in the cold, feeling like you have to retreat within yourself, feeling like you're all alone in the world, and the only way you can really make sense of it all is if you separate yourself from everyone and everything. If you isolate yourself, you're going from that energy in towards this Aries energy of, hell yeah, I'm alone. I'm doing it my way. Hell yeah, I'm doing this just for me. I don't have to care about anyone or anything else anymore. I'm good. I can do whatever I want. I am not beholden to anyone. I don't have to work with anyone else's whims or fancies. I'm free to do whatever I like. And it really does feel like this shift from this quieter Virgo energy, which is the hermit. It's that more mutable energy to a more cardinal energy like the emperor, which is all about transitions and shifts and refusing to take anything but what you ask for, refusing to settle, being stubborn about the things that you want and no longer accepting anything but the best. And it's a powerful change. And what's funny is this is number 9 and this is 4. Subtract the 2, you get 5. 5 is the number of change. There's another 5 here. You know, that's some quick maths for you. But next we have the Queen of Swords in reverse. And that's clarified by the Magician. Okay, so the Queen of Swords reversed and the Magician. The Queen of Swords upright talks about someone who is quite intelligent and is able to use that intelligence as a defense mechanism, but in a powerful way. So to have that in reverse kind of tells me that there might be times where you feel like you're overly intellectualizing any situation. And the Magician is someone who creates their own reality. So there's 2 different ways I could interpret this. One, this may be something of a warning to you to not try to logic your way into manifesting the life of your dreams. So to lean more into how you want to feel and who you want to be rather than how you're going to get there. Because that's a trap that most people fall into when it comes to manifestation, right? We want to micromanage every single step of the way. And that's just not how the universe works. The universe has one job and one job alone, and that is to find the path of least resistance. And you trying to then decide every step that's going to bring you to this path, bring you to your end result, is not going to help at all, because you are then adding resistance to the universe's path, right? So that's one way to look at it. The other could be that you are no longer feeling, how do I put this? So Queen of Swords energy to me feels very cutthroat, very direct, but not necessarily in the most constructive of ways, right? She's not quite at king level, right? The king in any suit is supposed to be the ultimate authority on that energy. This is not quite there yet, so she might not quite have the every little detail right when it comes to how to handle things like communication and thought and stuff. Like she's quite high up there, but she's not quite perfect yet, right? And perfectionism might be something you might be dealing with in the rest of the year. But with the Queen of Swords in reverse and the Magician, this is more either you're entering an energy or you're being encouraged to embrace an energy of being okay with not knowing every single thing. Being okay with not having all the details and wanting to manifest regardless. Yeah, it feels like you might carry some fears from this break, this betrayal, or whatever this is. Some fears regarding, oh, how did I not see this coming? You might take that on yourself. You might try to blame yourself for things that were out of your control. You might try to overly intellectualize anything that comes your way moving forward by saying, how can I know every single piece of information there is to know about the situation so I'm not blindsided again? So I think the warning here is, don't try to do that, because then what you're doing is really just manifesting more and more of the same stuff. When you are overly cautious, you're telling the universe that there is nothing worth trusting in your lot, in the energies around you. So you want to make sure that whatever you do, you really try not to carry forward fears from this situation here. But what's coming your way is a sense of independence, a sense of personal power, a sense of freedom when it comes to what you can manifest moving forward. So that is wonderful. So let's take a look at, why is this candle burning so dim? That's so strange. Anyway, let's take a look at how you can either manifest this quicker into your life, how you can embody this energy, or if this isn't quite what you want, how you can make it better, how you can embrace the lessons, and so on and so forth. So we have the world, beautiful, and the Four of Wands. That's so beautiful, part one. The world and the Four of Wands. Truly, you're being called to just celebrate. Just celebrate. Whatever you can find, whatever reason you can find to celebrate, for any little thing, do it. Every reason to celebrate is a valid reason to celebrate. And when you embody that energy of joy and mirth, you get to really enjoy the world around you, regardless of your circumstances. Right? So your oracle card says, Turkey spirit, give with gratitude and grace. This also makes me think of Thanksgiving with a turkey. I've never celebrated Thanksgiving. It's not a thing in the part of the world that I'm from, but it makes me think of spending time with your family, with friends, with people that you are grateful for. And this is card 61. I'll just quickly skim through it because it's self-explanatory, really. But Turkey Spirit's message for you is that you always have the potential for manifesting a rich reality, for the turkey represents generosity and a celebration of abundance through giving to others. Give freely without expectations and you shall receive. Immerse yourself in the flow of generous abundance, being a channel for Turkey Spirit and the desire of Spirit to see all beings experience the blessings of plenty. Yeah, I think you're really being called to embrace abundance. Shift your focus from the things you have lost to the things that you still have. And that again reminds me of this Five of Cups in reverse energy of shifting your focus from what's no longer here to what is still hanging around. So that's how you can really embrace this energy of moving forward, of being independent, But let's take a look at how you can make sure you don't miss out on this energy, because clearly this is something you want moving forward. Okay, we have the Eight of Coins and we have the Knight of Wands. Okay. The Eight of Coins is about working hard, about forcing yourself to work extremely hard, and it comes after the Seven of Coins. So I feel like we'll get to the if bit in a bit. But the Knight of Wands is someone who doesn't really think things through, just charges forward passionately without stopping to think whether moving forward is the right decision, whether, rushing into something is a good idea. So with these two cards here in this position where I wanted to take a look at how to avoid something or how to make sure that you don't miss out on something good, it kind of tells me that there might be a temptation here to immerse yourself in working harder. And again, that comes to this Queen of Swords energy of overly intellectualizing something. So say this is about a relationship that didn't work out, right? You might be tempted to then, moving forward with your relationships, either rush into things or refuse to entertain anyone because you're sat there overly intellectualizing every single word, every single action that someone takes towards you, or even that has nothing to do with you, but they just things that people just do in their own lives outside of you. You might be given to overanalyzing, and look how dim that candle is burning. That's so crazy. So the advice here, I feel, is to not try and think that you did something wrong by not seeing the signs, or by not being passionate enough about something, or not moving fast enough. It's just not true. Let's see what the advice is. We have, Elephant Spirit, learn from the past. Isn't that funny? So this is number 25. So, wrong book. I've got like two little booklets here. And I just grabbed the first one I got. Okay. Although we often wish we could leave the past behind, Elephant Spirit reminds us that memory matters. We must respect the wisdom of the elders who hand down to us traditions they have shaped to express our connection to each other and respect for the community. The stories of events you experience, the stories in our collective memory, and the stories of relationships you have had can be told in many ways. What story will you tell? Spirit rejoices at your willingness to learn and grow. Yeah, I definitely think this lesson here, or this card, this advice, is all about appreciating what happened and appreciating that sometimes there is just nothing you can do in order to avoid an outcome. And it doesn't mean you did anything wrong. And it doesn't mean that history is going to repeat itself over and over again. Sometimes it is just about letting go of the pain, keeping the lesson, but not constantly torturing yourself over the things that you had no control over, and not trying to micromanage every new thing that comes your way in order to avoid repeating this mistake. So in order to manifest this energy of independence and abundance, you're really being called to shift your focus onto the good things. Shift your focus onto the things that have worked out for you, of the infinite possibilities that are coming your way now that this situation is out of your life. I keep thinking of that song Survivor by Destiny's Child. What a bop. What a bop. But listen to that. That's a big vibe. Okay, I'm gonna leave it at that. But Yeah. Another thing from I'm getting from this turkey spirit card is to maybe engage in philanthropy, engage in helping the community. That might help take your mind off of the things you've lost. When you give, it creates a feeling of abundance within you. And that might truly help you work through a lot of the grief, I want to say. Wouldn't be my first choice of word, but that's what came through. So, finally, let's take a look at what archetype you'll be embodying when you leave this year towards the end of the year. We have the Page of Cups in reverse, and that's clarified by the Queen of Pentacles. Beautiful. And the archetype card we have is the Thread. Isn't that funny? Because this specific deck has this red thread of destiny story attached to the Page of Cups. That's very interesting. So, before we even look at the Oracle card, these two cards kind of tell me something very important. At the end of the year, you are no longer this page energy, this emotionally immature energy. You are no longer engaging in almost fantasies that you know are harmful, but you are almost addicted to, if that makes sense. So, say for instance, you might fantasize about an ex coming back from this situation, coming back to you, wanting to get back together. By the end of the year, you'll be seeing the situation very differently and realizing that actually maybe that wasn't meant to be. Maybe the reason this situation fell apart was because it had run its course. That's the feeling I'm getting, right? That situation had taught you everything it was there to teach you. There would be no more learning for you, and there'll be no more growing there. And so it was taken out of your path so that you can move forward. The Queen of Pentacles is someone who is abundant and receptive to more abundance. She's not the kind to go out there and grind. She's the kind to sit down and allow people to pay her for who she is. So it feels like you're stepping away from this almost wishful energy of how are things going to play out and what is my destiny. I'm so obsessed with the idea of things working out perfectly and this romanticizing things that don't need to be romanticized. Stepping out of that energy and stepping into an energy of being stable, being abundant, being you, being grounded and connected to who you are, and knowing what you deserve, right? And we have the Thread. This is number 70. I think. I'm not that good at Roman numerals, but let's see. Let's just call it LXX, okay? Because I don't want anyone coming for my Roman numbers. Okay, the thread, the path, the vein, the circuit. Life is a tangle. So much happens simultaneously and circuitously, leaving us grappling for meaning and direction in a network of distractions. When we connect to the energy of the thread, however, we strike the deepest vein in the body. Our whole being responds to its tug. Meaning is pumped through our bloodstream. Our mind and spirit are lifted. We remember who we are and what we came into this world to do. Though this happens on the most profound level, it could be the simplest incident that activates the thread. A song, an image, a conversation heard in passing. No matter how confusing and multi-layered our modern lives become, if we are connected to the thread, we are free. Being tethered to it is the only anchor our heart requires. When light, the circuit of meaning within chaos. When dark, binding, frustrating, taut. So it almost feels like you're in an energy of letting go, which is interesting because this was an energy of holding on to something, right? So you're coming towards a place where you can happily move forward, not worry about anything that's holding you back, not worry about if you've made the right choices, if you've, not um, looking, not looking for validation outside of yourself. Let's put it that way. You're stepping into a place where you're grounded and calm. You know who you are. You know what you're capable of, and you are fully leaning into it. You're in a much more abundant energy at the end of the year. Oh, that's funny. Both of these reduced to 7. And so does this. 777 might be something you see a lot. And when it does, remind yourself. And the first card we took out was a 7 as well. Yeah, 7s are significant. Which is funny, this is July, right? But anyway, so maybe every time you see a 7, remind yourself of just how good you are and just how happy you are about to be, and embody that energy of excitement for the future. Okay, so that's your reading for today, Pile 1. I really hope it brought you some support and clarity, and that it was helpful. And if it was, then remember to like, comment, subscribe. That really helps the channel out so, so much. Thank you so much for being here and spending your time with me and giving your attention to me and allowing me to do this reading for you. I truly hope it helped. You can donate to my PayPal tip jar in the description if you enjoy what you see. Or you can just stick around to the end of the video for the outro for another reading on my channel. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye! Pile number 2, hello. So if you guys picked this amethyst, then this is your reading. Welcome. I'm just going to go ahead and put this guy up here. Today we're taking a look at the rest of 2025 for you. And I've gone ahead and pre-shuffled the cards. I haven't looked at them, but what I will say, oh, this is gross. What I will say is, when I was shuffling your cards, it was the deck was acting a little weird, and this was multiple decks where one card would flip over within the deck, but then a different card would pop out. So I immediately thought of you being offered a bunch of options and you being tempted to take the very first one that comes your way, but the advice being actually hang on, something better is on its way to you. So take that as it resonates. But welcome. So the way I've gone ahead and shuffled these cards is these first cards will give us a sort of energy check, and they'll tell us what energy you're bringing into the second half of the year. Then with these cards, we'll take a look at what the big theme is for the rest of your year ahead, what you can expect, what you can look forward to. Then with these cards here, they will tell us if this is something favorable, something you want to manifest into your life, then these cards should be able to tell us how you can go about doing that, how you can go about ensuring that something manifests in your life. Let me just adjust my camera. There's a lot of adjustments going on for you guys. Pile 2, that's strange, right? Okay, because there's a weird like bars on the camera right here. Anyway, so many distractions. Wow. So these cards will tell us how you can manifest this faster, and if it's unfavorable, we'll take a look at the lesson that you can learn and how you can embrace the situation regardless. These cards here will tell us how you can either avoid the situation entirely or the things to avoid so that you do get this manifestation in your life, right? And then finally, we'll take a look at the energy you leave this year with towards the end, after this whole process is done for you. So without much further ado, let's dive into the energy that you're coming into the second half of the year with. So this is a great place to confirm that this is the right pile for you. So to start, we have the 10 of coins in reverse. And to clarify that, we have the 7 of wands. Okay, so it feels like you're coming in with an energy of having to fight for what is rightfully yours. It feels like you have everything that you need, but it almost feels like you have to defend it a lot. Um, like you have to work really hard to make sure that it doesn't get taken away from you. Because the Ten of Coins is the ultimate happiness, the ultimate fulfillment, right? It is the ultimate joy and, having a home and wealth and family and all that good stuff. And to have that in reverse clarified by the Seven of Wands, which the Seven of Wands is someone who has had victory, but now has to defend it from other people who are trying to take it from them. So it almost feels like you're coming in with an energy of fear surrounding losing what you already have, or this might be your lived experience for real, where people are trying to grab at what you already have. And therefore, what you have doesn't feel as enticing anymore. It doesn't feel as exciting anymore because frankly, it feels like you're over the stress of having to almost go out of your way to make sure that this doesn't get taken away from you. The archetype card we have is the flame in reverse. Now, I'm not too attached to this being in reverse, which is funny because my flame has been acting really strange this whole time. Like it's burning so small. I don't understand it. Anyway, this is number 51. And I'm not attached to this being in reverse quite yet, but we'll see what the book says. Just because these cards like to spin around as I move them around. So, number 51, if that is significant to you, the flame. The ancient yogis saw the flame at the center of the abdomen and believed it to be responsible for our vitality. When it is lit, we are connected to our purpose and sense that life is a sacred gift. It is said that those who cannot see the sacred around them have let their inner flame go out. Think of this card as a call to reignite that fire, to cup your hands gently around those things that you've forgotten and protect the flame, no matter how harshly the winds around you blow. It could be an inner archetype that begs you to light its wick. It is likely that the poet, the mystic, or the shaman would call to you with the language of the flame. When light, health, mental clarity, good digestion. When dark, excess heat and anger, complete darkness. Yeah. Yeah, like I said, it feels like the things that you have achieved, that you've wanted to achieve for so long and you finally have it, it feels like you're convinced people are trying to take it from you. And I'm not saying that in a way to belittle you. Like you may very well be surrounded by people who want to take this from you, but it feels like as a result of that, you've almost lost passion for the things that you've coveted for so long that you finally have. So if that's an energy that resonates with you right now, hello, this is definitely your pile. So let's take a look at what's coming for you moving forward. So first we have the moon in reverse. And that's clarified by the sun in reverse. Okay. Okay. So the moon in reverse talks about clarity because the moon upright talks about not seeing the full picture, not seeing all the possibilities, not seeing what's really there, being surrounded by illusion, being worried and afraid. So to have that in reverse is usually an indicator of clarity, of seeing things how they truly are. However, that's clarified by the sun in reverse. The sun is usually about optimism, about celebration, about looking forward to happy things. To have that in reverse talks about pessimism, about loss, about not having the joy that you really want. So moving forward, I know this feels very doom and gloomy. It feels like you're going to find clarity and then you're going to lose everything. The way I see this is you're getting clarity on what is truly hurting your joy. You're understanding where this pessimism, where this sadness, where this anger, where this feeling of loss, where these anxieties and fears come from. And you're able to address them. Now, this could be in many different ways. It could be that some of you guys are considering therapy, seeing a counselor, something like that. And that is a very good idea if you are struggling with a lot of fears, because it really will shed a light on the source of these fears. And once you can look your fear in the eye and give it a name, it stops having any power over you. So it could very well be that you're seeking help, you're seeking therapy, or you're just doing a lot of shadow work, a lot of inner work, and you're able to pinpoint exactly where these fears come from and why they still linger, what's triggered them again. Because it doesn't make logical sense that just having things around you would make you afraid. Just achieving your goals would make you terrified of losing them. There is definitely something deeper here, and I think in the coming months you're about to explore what that is. You're about to see your fear for its true nature, for its true source, for its origin. Okay? Next we have the Hanged Man. Yeah, that makes sense. Clarified by the world in reverse. Yeah, the Hanged Man is all about a new perspective. It is about seeing the world through a completely different lens. And that's funny because now the world is upside down. So from the perspective of the Hanged Man, the world would look upside down because the Hanged Man is hanging upside down. But it's important to remember that with the story behind the Hanged Man card, it is voluntary. The Hanged Man chooses to see things through a new perspective. This is not someone who was forced into situations that kind of destroy their worldview. This is someone who realizes something is wrong with how they are seeing things, that the world they are looking at doesn't feel like the world they want to live in, and therefore they choose to alter their perspective. So with these 4 cards, it really does feel like what's coming your way is a lot of healing, a lot of looking inwards, a lot of realizing exactly how you've been in your own way, how these fears have been clouding your judgment of yourself, of others, of your peers, of the things that you've earned, the things that you have, the things that make you happy. And it really does feel like you're either seeking some sort of counseling or you're doing a lot of inner work, going inwards, doing some shadow work, doing some inner child healing as well. Because these are all major arcana. This feels like something life purpose related. This feels like something that will really change the direction of your life moving forward. And it is important work. So it's not like it's going to be sunshines and rainbows. Obviously not. We have the sun in reverse. But that's not to say it's going to be all bad. This is important work. And, oh, that's funny. The Hanged Man is the only one that's upright and this character is upside down. It feels like you're really reassessing how you see the world around you. You're looking at your long-held beliefs and flipping them on their head. Just as an experiment, just to see what could happen. And that's good, because that sort of curiosity, the energy of exploration, usually comes from a position of power, of abundance, of confidence. So this is very much a good thing for you, Paul 2. So let me just push these cards, because I've just looked at the viewfinder and they are not in any sort of row or like even line. Okay, so with that said, how can we best embrace the lessons that we're going to learn through this shadow work, through this important healing? How can you manifest the best possible outcome and manifest it quicker so that you can work through it quicker? And how can you truly just embrace the lesson? All right. The first card we have is Temperance in reverse. And that is clarified by Strength in reverse. Interesting. This is the Sagittarius card. This is the Leo card. Fire in reverse. So, again, so much major arcana for you. You guys, this is a significant time period for your soul's growth. This is an important time in your life. Even if it doesn't feel that way, even if you've managed to convince yourself that this is just, this is an important time in your life. But first of all, both of these being fires is very significant to me, because it kind of tells me that you're being encouraged to not rely entirely on the more fiery emotions of impatience, of anger, frustration. Again, the flame in reverse, yeah, that was definitely significant. You're definitely being called to release the more shadowy aspects of fire energy, because it feels like there's an inner rage that might be driving all of this. You may have had anger issues in the past. This is also the Leo card. This to me is always Sagittarius, even though this doesn't really, it has all the fixed signs on it. The World card always reads Sagittarius to me. So there's a lot of fire energy in reverse. This is a fire card as well. And it feels like you're being told to let go of the more sort of negative fiery emotions when it comes to doing this healing work. Because that's so interesting, because this should ideally have been on this side of it. Anyway, the Temperance card. Temperance is all about dynamic balance. It's about finding balance through constant motion. The Strength card is all about knowing when to use your strength and knowing when to reserve and when to step back and when it's not necessary to bare your teeth. So to have both these in reverse, it could be asking you to take things slow and steady and to keep your wits about you. But it could also be asking you to find safe avenues for you to release these more challenging emotions. This sense of imbalance, this sense of wanting to show your power, show your strength, but finding a way to do it so that it doesn't have negative repercussions on your life outside of this healing work. So not leading with that fire energy, not leading with anger and screaming and shouting and whimsy, but rather finding safe avenues to release those big emotions. We have the Rhino Spirit in reverse. Overcome any obstacle. So that's your advice. And also in reverse, there's so many reversals for you guys. It feels like there's really just a massive change coming your way. But it's more a shift of perspective. But let's go ahead and read this. We'll skim through this from the book. This is number 50, if that means anything. The appearance of an obstacle in front of you offers you a choice. Barrel into it and bang your head, or find the easiest way around it and don't fight it. Are you stubbornly insisting that there is only one way to remove it from your path? Rhino Spirit is here to tell you that sometimes the answer is no, and sometimes it is no, not yet, and sometimes it is no, not the way you think it should be. Open to new possibilities and you will find that other options begin to appear. Okay, yeah. This is definitely about letting go of a sense of stubbornness that you might be holding on to, which is that Leo energy is very fixed. And these are all the fixed signs as well. Lots of synchronicities for you guys, but you're very much being called to embrace the idea of maybe I don't see everything there is, that moon in reverse energy. Maybe there isn't enough information for me to be passing judgment on these situations, on these people. Maybe the projections that I put onto people are reflections of who I am. Maybe the way I see the world is how I see myself. Now, how can I change how I see myself so that the world around me changes? This is very much a time of reflection for you, of going inwards, of really shifting your perspective, part 2. That's how you embrace this energy. Let's take a look at how you can either avoid all this work altogether, which I do not advise, but we'll see what the cards say, or how you can make sure that you don't miss out on, maximizing your gains from this shadow work. We have the 9 of Wands in reverse, and that's clarified by the Star, also in reverse. Okay. Truly, the only way you could really mess up through this healing journey is 1, forgetting that you have exactly what it takes in order to create this shift in perspective. The 9 of Wands is someone who is facing a lot of challenges, but they are fully capable of addressing them and working through them. They have everything they need. They have all the resources they need within themselves. So to have that in reverse kind of tells me that you almost see this situation, this fear, this anxiety, as if it's bigger than you. It's like you see it as something that could hold power over you. And as a result, it's going to. The world always wants to prove you right. The universe always wants to prove you right. So if you believe that these fears are bigger than you are, that you are not entitled to happiness because someone is always coming to take it from you, then the universe is only going to prove you right. And that's why we have the Star in reverse. The Star is about optimism, about looking forward with excitement and eagerness, and of allowing yourself to just dream. So when you have that in reverse, clarifying the 9 of Wands in reverse as well, it's really just telling us that the only way you can completely miss any benefit that is to come from this shadow work is if you convince yourself that you're not capable of healing through this anxiety, of healing through these fears, of healing through this anger. If you convince yourself that there is nothing to look forward to, and if you instead embrace a sense of pessimism, of doomsday thinking, that's how you miss the boat. That's how you just do not do any healing and end up just spending the rest of your life worried sick about things that may or may not even occur. For your advice, we have chameleon spirit in reverse. Act as if. Again, all of these are in reverse, you guys. That is so interesting. I've never had this many reversals in a reading, to my knowledge. So this is number 14 and this is number 50. That's so interesting. Both reduced to fives. 5 is the number of change. But anyway, chameleon spirit. Being sensitive and having empathy for others can become a heavy burden if you don't practice self-care. Could it be you're feeling stressed because you've tuned into challenging emotions that aren't even yours? Chameleon spirit does not want you to adapt to these conditions by withdrawing or distracting yourself, hoping the feelings will just go away. Choose some activities that will restore your sense of being grounded and avoid people who revel in drama. Who revel in drama? That's the word. Take a break from social media too. Self-care and a timeout is the answer to this temporary dilemma. Okay. An interesting nuance that I did not see coming until this card. It could very well be that this fear is not so much a fear of losing what you have, but a fear of losing the people around you because of what you have. You may have attained success, you may have attained abundance, and you may have had friends before this who were in the same boat as you without that success, without the abundance. But now that you have the things that you've worked so hard for, it's almost like you carry a bit of guilt about it. And so you surround yourself with more people who don't have the things that you have in order to almost like release that guilt in many ways. It feels like you're trying to convince yourself that you haven't changed, that money hasn't made you better than the people that you loved, that having a happy life hasn't made you egotistical. That could be a fear that you carry. And so maybe the pessimism isn't even yours. Maybe these fears aren't even yours. You've just adopted them from other people because you fear that if you let go of these people, if you let go of their fears, you might become ungrounded. You might lose touch. But why do you want to stay in touch with a reality that had you unhappy in the first place? That made you want to change your life in the first place? Just something to consider. So finally, Pal 2, let's take a look at what archetype you will be embodying when you leave this year. We have the Tower, to no one's surprise. And we have the Four of Cups in reverse. Beautiful. Now, the Tower card intimidates most people. Let me tell you why this is a good thing. Is because drastic change. Hello? I mean, the Tower is your entire worldview crashing. Everything that you based your identity around, everything that you considered your reality tumbling down. And usually that's a terrifying prospect, but for you guys, it is wonderful. You know why? Because your worldview needs to crumble in order for you to achieve the next level of abundance, to achieve joy in your abundance, to find peace and clarity and happiness, to allow yourself to enjoy the fruits of your labor. And to clarify that, we have the Four of Cups in reverse. Now, the Four of Cups upright talks about being so focused on what's in front of you that you miss opportunities that are coming your way from the universe. So to have that in reverse tells me that once this tower crumbles, once your worldview is forever changed. Wow, I can't even speak. Once your tower crumbles, your mind is instantly broadened. And suddenly you can see opportunities that you would never have clocked before. Why? Because now you're open to them. Now you're no longer holding on to this old paradigm, this old story, and also wanting your life to change, right? By the end of the year, you're a completely different person. Like, literally, you're a very different person. And that's a good thing. And you might find that friends fall apart. Like, these two people falling out of this tower makes me feel like these are old friends who are falling out. You might lose some people, but that's okay because it is worth losing people that don't resonate with you anymore if it means your true soul family can come in, if it means creating space for the people that are meant to be in your life and opportunities that are meant to be in your life. So the final card is Gnosis. Beautiful. So this is number 75. Let's take a look. See, this is one of the final cards, so I don't even know which way up it really goes, but I'm hoping I've put it the right way. Yeah, I have. Okay. Gnosis, innermost knowing, mystic truths. True knowledge is not found in facts and figures in scholarly books on library shelves. Rather, Gnosis points to the deep and timeless archetypal wisdom that rises from the felt experience of having touched the unknown with every one of the senses. Those who are drawn to Gnosis find themselves in esoteric studies, likely involving mysticism, alchemy, healing, or perhaps science. Knowing is their calling, not knowing is their job description. No matter how far the alchemists take their studies, they come to the ultimate conclusion that facts slip towards mystery, and soon the mystery results in facts. This card signifies a knowing that is life-changing. Once you experience it, you are forever changed and become a guardian of Gnosis. The eternal mystery is calling to you. Study your passion in the deepest way available to you. When light, contemplating the mystery, unanswerable questions. When dark, over-intellectualizing and literalizing, asking others. Yeah, you're very much turning inwards. You're very much embracing your inner mystery by the end of the year. And that is leading your intuition to be peak performance and therefore bringing you a plethora of opportunities that you never even saw coming. Beautiful. So, part 2, that's your reading for today. I really hope it helped and that it brought you some support and clarity. And if it did, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you like what I do, you can always tip me at my PayPal tip jar link in the description. Thank you so much for being here and spending some time with me and letting me do this reading for you. I really hope it helped. You can stick around to the outro for another reading on my channel, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye. Pal number 3, hello. So if you guys picked this jade crystal, then this is your reading. We're taking a look at how the rest of your year is going to look. Before we get into the cards, I want to say when I was shuffling them, it felt like I was talking directly to you. So you guys might just be regular watchers. I don't know. You might be familiar to me IRL. I don't know. But normally oh my goodness, that was a word vomit. Normally when I shuffle, I say, okay, what's pile 3 going to go through? But it almost felt like when I was shuffling them, I was talking directly to you, like, hey, what are you going to go through? So that was interesting. And also, this song kept coming up for me for the first time by The Script, I think. It's the guys who sing Superheroes and also that FIFA song. I forget. But those guys had a song called For the First Time. And it's like a bittersweet song. So I just thought I'd mention those if they resonate for you. Hello. So I've gone ahead and pre-shuffled these cards. I haven't looked at them yet, but these first few cards are going to tell us what energy you're bringing into the second half of this year. So where you are currently, and you can use this as an energy check to see if this is indeed your pile. And if it is, these cards here will tell us what you can look forward to in the rest of this year. And if that is something you very much look forward to and want to manifest quicker, these cards will tell us how. However, if it's a difficult energy that you don't necessarily want to manifest, these cards will tell us how you can best embody the lessons that this situation is meant to teach you anyway. Again, if this is a situation that you want to manifest, then these cards will tell us how to make sure that you don't miss out on it. And if it's something you don't really want to manifest, these cards might give you some advice on how you can embrace the lessons and avoid the situation as well. So if you can embrace the lesson without going through the situation, that's great. And then finally, these cards here will tell us your personality, your energy as you leave this year after all of this is done. All right? So let's get in. It's quite late where I am. I feel like I can talk to you. People feel like friends. I don't know why. So first we have the 9 of Cups, and this is the energy you're coming into the second half of the year with. The 9 of Cups in reverse, clarified by the 6 of Pentacles. That's an interesting combination. I don't think I've ever read these two cards together before. The 9 of Cups upright talks about wish fulfillment, about being really, really happy, about having emotional fulfillment. To have that in reverse is obviously the opposite, is not having the things that you want, is the feeling of not being fulfilled. Clarified by the 6 of Pentacles, though. The 6 of Pentacles is about generosity, is about someone either giving you happiness or you offering abundance to someone else. And together, it almost feels like you're in the energy of not quite feeling like your own cup is full, but still pouring from it. Yeah, it feels like you don't really have the ultimate joy and emotional fulfillment right now, but you're still working on sharing it with others. This could be voluntary, which is what it feels like. It feels like you're not being forced to give what you don't have for yourself. It almost feels like you get a sense of joy from being of service to people. And beautiful. The archetype card we have is the Nectar. Now this was sideways, so I don't know if it wants to be upright or in reverse. But we'll see. This is card number 58. I don't think this has ever come out for me before. It's very exciting. These are the things that excite me, you guys. So, the nectar, the medicine, the elixir, the garden. In Hindu mythology, there is a miraculous substance known as amrit, or nectar, that contains infinite healing power. This golden nectar, or sacred elixir, is the drink of immortality. And, like its sister substance, soma, is known to activate subtle, intelligent forces that ease the mind, body, and spirit. Though esoteric, these images lead us to the central energy of this archetype, the sweet, potent, heavenly essence that lubricates our spirit back to life. The Nectar card calls us to identify and relish in places, practices, people, and activities that regenerate and heal. Medicine is needed, and it comes in subtle form that you may be overlooking. Seek the most sensuous, fragrant flower in the garden you have forgotten. Don't underestimate this remedy. It is said that when someone has activated this substance within, it is reflected in the shimmering eyes. When light, glowing, relaxed, subtle illumination. When dark, fixation on fixing, aggressive approach to healing. Okay, this feels like Okay, I understand why this was sideways, to be honest. I might keep it sideways. It feels like you might simultaneously be experiencing both sides of this energy, where you feel like, on the one hand, life is gentle and slow and relaxing and easy. And then on the other hand, you're having to push through so much work and be so productive and, not even have the time to fill your own cup before you have to give to someone else. And it's like this weird sort of balance. Now I'm hearing Working 9 to 5 by Dolly Parton. It's that busy bee energy, but at the same time, you're like, well, but I should be relaxed. I should be chilled out. I should be calm. It's not like I'm doing more than I used to. And yeah, it feels like a bit of a cognitive dissonance right now, part 3. So if that resonates with you, let's go ahead and take a look at what is coming your way, what the biggest theme is for the rest of your year ahead. So first we have the Eight of Swords in reverse, and that is clarified by the Lovers. Oh, beautiful. I just have to cover them up because, yeah. Okay. The Eight of Swords in reverse, clarified by the Lovers. The Eight of Swords is usually a cage that we've built around ourselves, right? It is a sense of duty, a sense of responsibility, a sense of restriction that we place on ourselves and then become victimized by. So to have that in reverse is kind of telling me that you are coming out of a self-imposed prison. And to be clarified by the Lovers, I think a big theme in your life, moving forward, at least for the rest of this year, is going to be about finding connection. Finding connection with people, places, things, with elements of nature, animals, birds, plants. Finding some way to connect with someone or something that drags you out of your isolation. Because it really does feel like a lot of the reason you feel this dissonance here is because you feel like you're going through it all alone. And sometimes hearing from other people who might either have similar experiences or just have might be at a similar stage of life as you, sometimes speaking to them might help, and you might just find some kindred spirits out there. How 3. Say, for instance, you are at university. University can be a very isolating experience. Like for me, it really was. Even though I was surrounded by more people than I'd ever been surrounded by before, it was still a very isolating experience because there is so much going on. And when there is so much going on, it's like you lose connection with yourself. That's where the isolation comes from. And so it feels like because there's been so much going on in your life, you may have lost connection with yourself. And it's not always easy to find that connection to yourself again, because it's kind of hard for us to make sense of it, to conceptualize. However, in connecting with other people, we kind of refresh that skill. And in feeling connected to by someone else, in seeing ourselves through someone else's lenses, we're able to find our way back towards ourselves. So one important theme for you for the rest of this year might be building connections or nurturing connections with other people, or pets, or plants or objects or craft skills, some sort of connection that helps you to find yourself again. That's the key to it. Next, we have the King of Coins in reverse. And that's clarified by the Six of Cups. Beautiful. There's a lot of sixes here. All of these cards are sixes. Interesting. You might be seeing a lot of sixes. 666, double six, double six, double six. And 6 is usually the number of beauty and cleanliness, I guess. It's Virgo, right? Virgo energy. Perfectionism, maybe. I don't really know about sixes like that, but you can look it up if you like. But with the King of Coins in reverse and the Six of Cups. Now, what's interesting is that both these cards are about generosity. But while this is about being generous with money, being generous in a sense of giving to someone, this card is more about sharing. This card is more about, the Six of Cups is more about being nurtured and nurturing. It's about sharing an emotion, about sharing love, and usually also about people from your past, people reaching out to you. And the King of Coins, that is that Taurus energy of being on your money, being on your game, being 1000% practical, being very slow moving, being very fixed. So to have that in reverse clarified by the Six of Cups, really, it makes me feel like moving forward, you might find that there's an opportunity to not have to be on it all the time, to not have to be just go, go, go all the time. You have time to allow yourself to be nurtured by the people around you. There might be a big theme of allowing your people to take care of you, of stepping away from all of the responsibility that apparently you've put onto yourself with this Eight of Swords. Stepping away from that and allowing other people to pour into your cup for a change. Beautiful. Beautiful. There's a lot of nurturing coming your way, part 3. So let's now take a look at how you can best embrace this, how you can manifest this calm, honestly. how you can manifest it quicker and how you can embody the lessons that you are to learn from this shift. So first we have the Star. Oh, it's so beautiful. And that's clarified by the Three of Wands in reverse. Okay. Honestly, you don't have to do anything. You don't. The Star is optimism, is wishful thinking. It's about looking forward to something with excitement, with eagerness. The Three of Wands in reverse is about staying put, staying where you are, returning home, returning to yourself, not feeling the need to go out gallivanting, but rather to come back home, come back to a place where you feel taken care of. And I feel like that message is just permeating your entire reading, Palfrey. But with these two, it really feels like the best way you can embrace this change is to really stay put, to not feel like you have to do more, not feel like you have to do a bunch of manifestation rituals or a bunch of inner work and shadow work or any of that. It is simply to allow yourself to be, but in a mindful way so that you don't feel guilt about doing nothing. It's about allowing yourself to hope and dream and look at the world through rose-tinted glasses, and not having to worry about the practical implications of any of it. The advice card for this is, see, bear spirit, take time out. Brown bear spirit, rather. Take time out. Yeah, that's what I was saying. It's about just allowing yourself to be exactly who you are, exactly where you are. You don't have to do or be anything else in order to achieve this feeling. In fact, the issue is that you might be getting in your own way a lot. You might be forcing yourself to do things a lot, to be things a lot, and that's what's causing this issue in the first place. If you simply sit down, if you simply just allow life to unfold the way it will without trying to micromanage anything, but also keeping in mind your goals and your hopes and dreams while not worrying about how you're going to get there, life will just find its way, dude. It feels like you're being called to embrace some Shaggy energy, like Shaggy from Scooby-Doo, not the singer. But brown bear spirit, take time out. There is a time to act and a time to focus your attention on patient strategizing. The arrival of brown bear spirit signals that you are best served by foregoing hard work towards your goals at the moment and instead taking the time out to meditate or just take a nap so you can refresh yourself and begin planning what you want to co-create next. How might you become the person you wish to be and experience whatever your heart desires? Insights will arise as you explore the possibilities and begin envisioning your plan. Relax so you can recharge. The call for action will come later. Yeah, stay put. You don't have to do anything. Right now is the time for you to sit down, relax, recharge your batteries, and the world will just keep spinning. You don't have to be in a million places all at once. Next, let's take a look at either how you can avoid all this work, which I don't think you want to, but let's look at it in a sense of what can you do to make sure you don't miss out on this growth, okay? We have the Six of Wands in reverse. Okay, clarified by the King of Wands. Okay, Six of Wands in reverse talks about loss of well, the Six of Wands upright is victory, so this is literally loss of losing. And the King of Wands is someone who is in complete control of his passions, who is very powerful and creative. He knows when to speak up, when to, not, when to follow his passions, when to rest, and all of that. So these two cards here are telling me that the issue is that you're only really focusing on the things that haven't worked out. You're only really focusing on things that you lost. And that's where your passion is going. That's where your creative energy is going. And the more you lean into that, the more you're going to just completely miss all of this healing and nurturing. It's like you almost take way too much responsibility for all the things that have gone wrong. Yeah, that's it. It's like you've convinced yourself that every bad thing that has ever happened is entirely your fault and that it's a personal loss. It's not, Pearl 3. Sometimes things just happen. It's not about what's happened, it's how you respond to it. And in doing all this healing, you're going to learn that maybe you don't need to respond to every single thing. And it's not your job to fix everything. It's not your job to run around and do everything for everyone. It's just not. You're one person, you know? And it almost feels like you attach your pride to winning. And so when you lose, you then attach your pride to that instead. Where that has now damaged your pride, that has hurt your feelings, that has destroyed your self-worth. And as a result, you feel like if I don't keep doing more and more and more, that's going to happen again. And if you stick in that energy, you're just completely going to miss all this beautiful stuff. And more importantly, you're just not going to manifest your dream life. You're just going to manifest more and more of things that force you to work way too hard. So what's your animal spirit advice for this one? It is Bobcat. Life is a mystery. That's interesting. That's number 9. That's number 8. Beautiful. Life is a mystery card, number 8. Bobcat spirit. The bobcat moves furtively and mysteriously, and when bobcat spirit appears, she brings a powerful reminder that not all things can be explained or understood through the power of intellect. Bobcat asks you to trust in the great mystery and let the secrets of the universe reveal themselves through direct experience. Allow your vision to slip into soft focus, and you will see between the lines and observe what has been hidden there all along. No matter what, the appearance of Bobcat Spirit is a sign that you are being called to trust, even when what is revealed does not agree with your need for intellectual certainty. That's the key word, is intellectual certainty. It feels like you cannot trust something that you don't have rational explanations for. You cannot trust something that you don't fully understand inside and out. You might be the type to take apart machines just to understand exactly how they work, even if it means destroying the machine forever. And now, think of how you've applied that to yourself. Where in your life have you broken yourself apart and cut yourself down in order to try and understand why you feel the way you feel? As opposed to just allowing yourself to feel that expression and allowing that understanding to come naturally. That's so profound. Embrace the mystery. That's the only way you're able to move forward from this rat race. So finally, let's take a look at what energy you're in as you leave this year. We have the 6 of Cups again. Beautiful. That's from 2 separate decks, you guys. That's wild. And that's clarified by the Page of Wands. Oh. Yeah, it really feels like you'll be in a much more optimistic place. You'll be in a much more generous place. Well, you're still generous right now, but with this energy here, this talks about having a lot to give and giving from a place of abundance, from a place of, I have more than enough to sustain me, so here's the excess. Because you see how here, like all these cups are already full of flowers and he's picking one of those to give to this girl. It's like, there are so many cups, there's so many flowers. He knows he is fully taken care of. And therefore he's able to then pay it forward. You're still giving, you're still being generous. You're just doing it from a more powerful place. And that is beautiful to see. Clarified by the Page of Wands, it's renewed passion. You're stepping into a new creative journey. You may step away from this King of Wands energy into Page, and it might seem like a backtracking, but let me tell you, it's actually more of a switching lanes. Because with this King of Wands energy, it feels like you had reached the pinnacle of focusing on the wrong things. Like you were a king of the wrong wand. So now you're starting over. You're stepping into your Page of Wands energy, but this time you're looking into a completely different horizon. You see how they're facing two very different ways. It's like now when you find your passion and creativity, you're doing it from a completely different headspace. You're doing it from a place of true abundance, of feeling like you're plenty nurtured within yourself so that you have extra to give. And the archetype card we have is the Underworld. But that was in reverse, so I'm just gonna... I don't know if I want to trust the reversal, but we'll see what this says. The Underworld, that is 48. Let's have a look. Yeah, okay. The Nightmare, the Ordeal, the Bottom. This is no time to mince words. The archetypal territory of the underworld is fraught with nightmares, suffering, and pain. It is the darkest shadow realm, which we try vigilantly to avoid or deny at any cost. Try as we might, the darkness pulls us into its depths through disturbing dream images, unexpected accidents, illness, war, conflict, and ultimately death. Not visiting the underworld or denying its existence altogether is what gives it dangerous power. Traversing it forces us to bow humbly to the greater forces that be, while summoning the inner strength we previously underestimated. Take solace that the underworld subsumes everyone from time to time, making us deeper friends, more intimate partners, soldiers of light amid our shadowy times. Facing darkness and choosing light is the most profound calling of all. When light, bravery, depth, facing of deepest fears. When dark, denial, suppression, evil, unconsciousness. So this seems like a scary card, but it's essentially the Death card. It's about transformation. And more importantly, it feels like when you reach this point, and also in order to reach this point, you're stepping into a place where you're able to trust whatever life throws at you. Because you have this deep knowing, you know that you are taken care of. You just know. It is a fact. You are no longer relying on the external world to make sense. You are no longer depending on external validation for you to be able to intellectualize the things that happen for you. You just know that if there's a curveball coming your way, you're fine. You're taken care of. And it's this deep, unshakable faith that you have in the great mystery. It feels like you're really coming out of this chapter just truly embracing the unknown and truly, trusting that if there is something I don't know, and if I'm meant to know it, I will be taught it one way or other. I will learn this lesson. I don't have to force myself to try and pick it apart so I can understand every little detail. I trust that the universe will teach it to me in a safe, loving, and happy way. And that is powerful, Pearl 3. That is an amazing place for you to be after working through all of this. It's beautiful. So that's your reading for today, Pearl 3. I'm so excited for you to go through all of this because it's truly a huge shift, and it will really change how you see everyone and everything, including and especially yourself. So yeah, I really hope this reading brought you some support, clarity. And if it did, then please remember to like, comment, subscribe. You can support me by checking out my PayPal tip jar down in the description. It would really help. And yeah, thank you so much for being here and sharing your time and energy with me and letting me do this reading for you. I truly, truly hope it helped. You can stick around to the outro just after this for another reading on my channel. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye.